Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be aiming to find out why Pep keeps playing Alvarez in midfield and Haaland up top. Essentially, why he plays both of them together. So since Haaland has come back from injury, he and Alvarez have been playing pretty much every match together. And the Man City fans have not been too pleased with Alvarez, like his performance in midfield, especially since Haaland came back, which is fine because he's not a midfielder, he's a striker. But Pep seems very insistent on playing him and well playing him now in the number 10 role. And this is what Pep has to say about like playing him. I think he plays, referring to Alvarez, because he deserves it. And in the absence of Erling for 2 months, he was key. He was a key point with Phil Foden. Yeah, really good in that terms, which is a fair thing to say because while Haaland has been gone, Alvarez was showing that he's a very, very good striker. However, Haaland is back now. So there's a conundrum of do you just drop Alvarez because the starter is back, or do you just find a way to play them together? It would appear that Pep has decided to reward his play. But in rewarding Alvarez for his performances, Man City haven't looked their best. They often look sluggish and stagnant. And when he's not playing at the 10, like when he's taking off, that's when you start to see some of Man City's best football. Like they look a bit more fluid and it's a more coherent unit without him at 10. So the question is, why hasn't Pep changed it? Because Pep can't see the things that we're seeing. He's one of the greatest managers, if not the current greatest manager in the world right now. So what's the reason that he hasn't changed it? Could it be that Pep thinks that playing this way would eventually work out? Or because he does talk about the need for the sense of goal, like having someone in midfield with a sense of goal. Because he says that Alvarez is a guy with a sense of goal. His movement between the lines means that we have another guy in attack when teams defend so deep, and it happens quite often. In him, we have a guy with a sense of goal coming from midfield, which is important. You can understand that reasoning. You can understand having an additional option when Haaland is, when a team is sitting back and Haaland is being heavily covered, having another source of goals, especially one coming from midfield, is important. However, it hasn't been Alvarez that's been providing that sense of goal. It's been Foden. Since Kevin De Bruyne also came back recently as well, Foden has been the one to provide those goals. He's been the one popping up with the goals. He's been the more attacking threat out of him and Alvarez. So even from Pep's perspective, that can't be the reason that Alvarez is still playing. Because if you remember that quote about rewarding him for his play, that actually comes after he gives the quote for the sense of goal. So the real question is, what is it? What is the reason he persists with playing Alvarez in midfield, even though he is aware it is clearly hurting the fluidity of his team? My opinion, I think the answer can be found in Chelsea with a player named Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is having an amazing season in Chelsea and has emerged as arguably their best attacking player this entire season. However, at the start of the season, he was a Man City player and he actually scored in the FA Cup final. No, sorry, in the Community Shield, my bad. In the Community Shield, yes, he scores in the Community Shield at the start of the season. And it looked like he was going to be that long term replacement for Mahrez. So what happened? He wanted to leave because he wasn't getting the playing time he felt he deserved. Because would you like to know what happened after coming off the bench to scoring for Arsenal? He was on the bench the next game. Like the very next game, he was on the bench. Okay. After that game, they go to play Super Cup against in Sevilla. He starts, he scores, and would you like to know his reward? He was an unused sub to the next two matches. So, from a player's perspective, I've come off the bench to score against Arsenal in the Community Shield. I start against Sevilla and I score, but I'm now an unused sub in the next two matches. It's not a pleasing situation to be in, let's just put it like that. Especially when you're a young up and coming player and you're trying to prove yourself and you feel like every time you've played, you've performed. And you might be feeling that there are people in the team who you should be playing ahead of, but you're not getting those opportunities. So when Chelsea comes in with an offer just before the transfer deadline, he takes it and he leaves because he knows where he's going to get a playing time. And so far, he's gotten an abundance of play time, and you're able to see the talent that he always had. Like we're all seeing it on display. Then again, the talent wasn't the question with Palmer, at least at Man City. It was just Pep kept picking what he believed to be his best 11 at any given match. And that was a problem that he had at Man City. Because in doing that, in Pep's chase for perfection and total football, and making sure he picked the right side for every opponent, regardless of like players' emotions or players' feelings, he ignored the human aspect. He ignored that players aren't exactly robots that don't feel anything. Put yourself in Palmer's shoes for a second. You come on, you play well, you should feel like, especially if you're a young player and the whole point is to prove yourself, and you're on the pitch. And sure, you do have the likes of Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva ahead of you. But if you're ever going to want to break into that team, when you're given opportunities, you need to show that you've done that, like you've played well, and you should be able to keep your spot at least until you play badly, which is what we believe Pep works on. But if you come in, you play well, you score your goals, but then you don't even get brought on even as a sub after performing in a final, like that's a it would weigh heavy on you. It'd be a very difficult thing to comprehend. It would hurt. But also, don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Pep had to say about like that situation. He says after 2 or 3 seasons, Palmer wanted more minutes than last season, which is true. And he says if you give Palmer the minutes he gave to Foden from the beginning, Palmer would be here. But he didn't give it to him. And that was his responsibility. Because in the moment, he chose other players over Cole Palmer. Now, my question to you is, does that sound familiar? Does it sound like it applies to anyone in the current City squad? Because Alvarez is in his second season. Not necessarily be his third like Palmer, but Alvarez did finish seventh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Seventh? Oh, wow, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, wow, Alvarez finished seventh in the Ballon d'Or? That's amazing. Wow, okay. But that goes to further the point that he's a lot further ahead in his development than Palmer was at this stage. So now Pep is presented with a decision. He either repeats his action with Palmer, and focus on playing the very best 11 every game. Chase perfection while risking the happiness of Alvarez. Or play Alvarez out of position to give him the playing time because you're not going to bench Haaland for Alvarez because he's not better than Haaland. So you risk playing him out of position just to make sure he's happy while risking the team's fluidity and hope that your players are coached well enough and that you have enough talent to win matches and maybe win trophies. And I think that's kind of why he's been very down on the idea on the team's ability to potentially win more trophies, at least this season. They are competing and you can't see the emotions on the field, but I think that's why he's aware that there's a chance that they might not be able to compete and win the very highest trophies this year because I think we know which of the two decisions he's already taken. So I guess my question to everybody is, do you guys think he made the right decision? Or do you think there's another reason why he plays Alvarez and Haaland together? Ultimately, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I'll be there. Let's have a conversation about it. And yeah, if you like the video, please remember to like it and subscribe because I'll be back here next week, Wednesday, with another upload. And yeah, all right. Peace.